Have you tried sleep training your baby, toddler, or preschooler, but it's simply not working? Let's troubleshoot it together. Hi, my name is Sarah Bazio, and as the lead certified pediatric sleep expert at Your Zen Baby Sleep, sleep training is my jam. It's exactly what I help families to be successful at, both in the moment and for the long term. When we do sleep training right, and when we meet our child's individual needs, sleep training does work. No, your child is not impossible. No, your child will not just have terrible sleep habits. We can sleep train your child, and I would love to teach you all about it. I'll get emails every once in a while from families saying, I've tried sleep training. I tried it at the 4-month mark, and then I tried it at the 7-month mark, and here we are at 10 or 11 months, and it would work for a week or two, and then we would go right back to where things were before. And I just don't understand, is my baby unsleep trainable? Or I never needed to sleep train my baby, and now I have a toddler who's a nightmare, and I'm trying this all on my own, and I have no idea why it's not working, right? It's important to remember that many of the resources that are on the internet are written for the general public. I am a big believer in individualization. I have 15 years of experience as only a special education teacher, and I'm a firm believer that every child has their own individual learning style. We do have just a couple ways to sleep train. There is nothing brand new in the sleep training world in terms of method, but how we apply that method and how we manage schedules and how we teach parents to teach really should be individualized to the family and the ecosystem that is within your own household. And sometimes those nuances are part of the reason why sleep training isn't working for you. Having an expert coming in and having a specialized eye on the sleep training process can be really helpful to pinpoint why sleep training is specifically not working for your family. And that's what I help families with all of the time in my one-on-one sleep support. So before we get into this video, you can feel free to book a discovery call to learn more about my one-on-one sleep support if this is something that resonates with you. If the video is helpful for you enough, that is my goal, and I love to make sure that I'm providing free resources that are really helpful and relevant to families who are struggling with their sleep. Let's get into it by starting with tip number 1. The first thing to look at is when we are sleep training. So are you sleep training nights and naps? Sometimes I get families coming to me saying, it's not working, I don't understand. And when I really dig in, I find out that they're only sleep training nights and they're not sleep training naps. Best practice is to do both, especially if your child is taking more than 1 nap a day. If you think about it, we have many opportunities to learn independent sleep when we're sleep training. If they're taking 2 naps a day and only sleeping 1 time a night, and we're assisting them to sleep twice and requiring them to independently sleep once, what is the message we are sending? So we need to be consistent throughout all of our sleep phases, every single time that baby gets in the crib for at least 2 weeks in order for them to really establish that new behavior in the brain. Speaking of naps, don't start with them. We want to start with bedtime. The optimal learning opportunity for teaching independent sleep is going to be at bedtime. When we are implementing a new sleep training method, don't do it at naps first. Put your baby in the crib at their bedtime, awake, and then start from there. This is the second mistake that I see parents make, is that they try on nap 1. It's a really hard nap, the baby doesn't fall asleep. They try at nap 2, the baby doesn't fall asleep and is exhausted. Then they go into nighttime, the baby either hasn't slept all day or the parents decided to give them a contact nap or an assisted nap. Now the baby is really confused. We go into bedtime, there's extra crying, everybody's crying and upset, and then we just give up. Starting at bedtime is key to making sleep training successful. And then after we start at bedtime on day 1, then we move forward the next day with the first nap. We want to make sure that we are using the appropriate schedules for our babies. So no wake windows after 4 months old, only biological schedules. Make sure that you check out my blog articles on my website about biological sleep schedules. If we are still using wake windows and if bedtime is off or too late, or if our baby is overtired or undertired, this is going to make the process much harder. And oftentimes the reason why I see babies struggling with the process of sleep training. So make sure your schedule is on par with their biological age appropriate need. I think the biggest mistake I see is inconsistency. And I want to provide as much empathy as possible to any parents watching this video. It's really hard, right? Sleep training is not something that you dreamed of when you were filling out your registry or picking out your nursery furniture. It's not one of the goals that we have as parents to sleep train our babies. It's hard work. And it's the first time that we really enter into the world of putting up a boundary and our children fighting that boundary, right? Speaking to toddler parents, you know what this is like, but it doesn't make the process any easier. And when we are managing human behavior, which is basically what sleep training is, there's a lot of room for human error. If we are inconsistent in any way, our babies and our toddlers, and especially our preschoolers, sense that. So if you deviate from the method, even if it's one time or one night or for one check-in or 1 minute of the chair method, your child can sense it, unfortunately. And this can increase the crying, and it can increase the intensity, and it can send really mixed signals to your child. So the most important thing for sleep training is that you have to be committed to the process. And once you rip that Band-Aid off, you cannot go backward. When you teach consistently, then we can start to expect that over time, our children will produce consistent results in return. All right, so let's say you've done all of that, right? Like everything I just suggested, you're like, yes, check, check, check. I'm consistent. I have the schedule. I don't use wake windows. The baby is going in the crib wide awake, et cetera, and it's still not working. Okay, so maybe we need to adjust the method. Oftentimes, a method that we choose, we might be choosing for ourselves. And that's important. If you're choosing a method that you're not comfortable implementing, you're not going to implement it, right? I want parents to really consider a method that they feel really good about so that they can be consistent with. But if they have a method that they are teaching, that they are consistent with, that is not aligned with the way that the baby is able to learn, then we might not really see the results that we're wanting to see, right? And at that point, I want you to take a step back and reflect, what is best for the baby? That method might be best for me, but it's clear that I'm not seeing the results I want, and it's not about me, it's about the baby. So what method might be best for baby? And in many circumstances, I probably would say most, the methods that are best for babies in that case, when we haven't seen success, are ones that involve less parental involvement. So for example, if you're doing a chair method, right, and that's a really highly involved sleep training method, and you are not seeing any improvement and your baby is still crying and we're on day 7 or 8 and you're so frustrated, that's your sign that it's not any of those above suggestions that I made. It's chair method. And that's probably the reason why it's not working, because your baby is frustrated by your presence and doesn't understand why you're not helping them. My suggestion in this case would be move to a less involved method like time checks. If time checks is not producing the results, we're either not running time checks to provide more independence gradually over time. There's a very specific way that I guide families in doing that, because time checks is a very specific and structured method. If you are running it in that very specific and structured way, and you are increasing the increments every day, and we're still not seeing results, then you might need to consider staying out of the room the entire time. I really don't love suggesting any type of full extinction, because it's just not a method that even I'm comfortable with as a parent, and it's not one that I teach to families. But it's something to consider just as an example if you are finding yourself really stalling at any type of progress during sleep training. Please remember that it takes a village to raise a child. If you were struggling with nursing your baby, you would likely reach out to a lactation consultant. In my background as a special ed teacher, when I saw parents who had children who were struggling with their speech, they reached out to speech therapy. Myself, we had issues with sensory, and my youngest daughter received occupational therapy services, right? All of these people are part of the village of experts to help our children who may not naturally pick up skills that other children naturally pick up. That's okay. Every child develops differently and on their own pace. So if you're really struggling yourself with sleep and you're not a sleep expert because that's not what you set out to do, that's normal. You're a parent. Don't be afraid to reach out for expert advice and seek out someone who can help guide you to a better way to teach your family to sleep. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and I would love to answer all of the things about sleep training. And on your way, make sure that you like the video and subscribe to my channel so that I know that this content is helpful for you and you're the first to know about my latest videos when they are published. As always, from my living room to yours, thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you again next time.